ICSI welcome all its viewers on YouTube live channel of ICSI with this live streaming. And we have started a series with Dr. Priya Vishweshwaranji. And ma'am is kind enough to give her time every week on Sunday to us for new avenues for educator. She has in hardcore knowledge, a good amount of knowledge to related subjects for this new avenues for educators like neuro coaching, cellular health coaching, functional medicine coaching, reverse aging coach, dietary metabolic coach. So she's kind enough to give her time for these topics to discuss in detail and how educators and youth can take benefit out of it. So let's just begin. This is consecutively third webinar onto these. And we are grateful to ma'am. And let's begin this journey once again, this particular talk. And we are eager that what ma'am has to tell us and guide us and educate us for today's webinar. To begin with, just see few slides of ICSI, what the day is all about, and what ICSI is all about. I know that you all are with us and you are along with us in this long journey of ours, and you know very well, but just few wishes to wish you for the day, and then we'll begin our talk with Dr. Priya Vishweshwaranji. So first of all, very happy Easter day to everyone. May God bless every one of us. And along with that, today is World Hemophilia Day, and that is particularly related to blood disorder. And we believe that it should not be happening in anyone, and everybody should be healthy, happy, and safe at their own places. So God bless everyone. And this day is basically celebrate to just have a view onto this particular disease and to take precautions about it. At the same time, today we are also today is the day of death anniversary of our I could say Bharat Ratna, India's first vice president and second president, and a very renowned and eminent educationist, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnanji. We celebrate his birthday as Teachers' Day, Indian Teachers' Day, on 5th September, and today 17th April is his death anniversary. उनकी पुण्यतिथि है आज, तो उन्हें शत-शत नमन है हम सबकी तरफ से. और ICSI आप सबको भी नमन करता है जो हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं और हमारी इस यात्रा में हमारा पूरा साथ दे रहे हैं. हम ये सब जो भी कर रहे हैं, हमारा मकसद टीचर्स, एजुकेशन, एजुकेटर्स और यूथ, उनको एम्पावर करना है. और किसी ना किसी तरह से सर्विस इंडस्ट्री इफ कैन कंट्रीब्यूट टुवर्ड्स आत्मनिर्भर भारत, we'll be feeling very delighted in. Whatsoever human mind can conceive and believe it can achieve, we believe in that, and we know that you also believe in that. That's why you are helping us in every point of time, every step, every particular path that we are taking. You are there for us. Keep writing to us, keep motivating us, keep giving your suggestions to us. The email ID is given and the WhatsApp number is also there. We have completed many amount of webinars till date, and we are thankful to everyone. And thanks to God also for showering his blessings on all of us. So again, we are in conversation with Dr. Priya Vishweshwaranji. Teachers for student health and wellness is the key. We have the first part we did on 3rd April, and then second part we did on 10th April last week. Ma'am guide us with some very good things that was very first time on artificial intelligence, another thing, and cognitive thinking. And today also, that is 17th of April, we are here with ma'am to take this journey on. So without wasting much time, I welcome you, ma'am, on behalf of all the viewers of ours and ICSI team. Thank you for coming, and we'll take this journey onwards. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Chitra ji. Namaskar. Namaskar to Dr. Major General Gulshan ji for giving us this opportunity, this wonderful opportunity. I don't know, today I felt I wasn't aware that it was Sri Radhakrishnan ji's birthday or death anniversary today. But today I just felt I would like to invoke sun salutations to all the teachers who have touched my life, and to start with a prayer to them. And I think Gulshan Sharma ji always starts with a prayer to Lord Ganesha. So if you would like to say a prayer, ma'am, that would be great. Then I just want to briefly say 2 words about each of these teachers in my life. And then we have a really long presentation, so we will get to it really quickly. Do you want to say a prayer to Lord Ganesha? Or if Gulshan ji is there, he is, we would be so honored if he would be able to.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I am conducting this webinar
Okay.
as the...
No problem. Sorry. Then yeah, as you wish. Then we can just jump into the presentation. No problem.
Sure. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So so I just wanted to say our first teacher, it's given in our scriptures that the first teacher is always our mother. In this case, my mother is a very, very brilliant lady. She's since I was very young, she's been my best friend. And she is herself the descendant of Sir T. Muthuswami Iyer, who was the first Indian High Court judge under the British, whose photograph is in every Indian law textbook, from whom the British came to learn law and how to understand karmic consequences and to create law. Then my father, Dr. Vis, I call him Appa. I've also most respectfully invited him to participate in today's webinar. One thing that not too many people know is that in addition to being the founder of the Vishwa Group, and in addition to keeping global marine safety for people who operate and work on ships, he was also brought to the United States by NASA after he helped launch India's first missile called Agni. He was the person who had the idea and approached Honorable President Shri Abdul Kalam ji, and then obtained the funds, then approached Dr. Sundar Rajan at Defense Research Department in Hyderabad, who designed the missile, and then he got it made in some components at least made in Chennai with KCP Industries, Mr. KCP Raman. And then he certified the entire missile, and then it was launched. So sun salutations to my first two teachers.
Nice. That's nice to hear, ma'am.
Thank you. One thing, Amma is also the descendant of Sri Appaya Dikshitar, who was the second biggest proponent of Advaita, which means there is no duality, no other. It's all self. Everybody is self. There is no other, and self is God too, right? So that is Appaya Dikshitar's other descendants were Swami Shivananda and others. So coming back to the schools, there's Shishya, where my favorite teachers were there. Rosary Matriculation, where Mr. Sudarshana Srinivasan. The school, Kausalya V. Krishnan, Vidyamandir, Srimati Gomati Krishnamachari, and so many other wonderful teachers. I salute all of them. All my professors at JIPMER, Dr. Sethuraman, Dr. Das, Dr. Sundaraman, Dr. Swaminathan, so many of them, professors in JIPMER, I salute all of them. And my gurus and mentors. So gurus are spiritual gurus and mentors. Presently alive are Swami Paramarthananda and Sadhguru, and previously departed are Shankaracharyas and Swami Dayananda Saraswati. And mentors are Western mentors here in the United States, Jack Canfield, John Assaraf, who I absolutely worship as God, Mark Robert Wallman, Gary Samuelson, and many, many others. My professors here at the medical colleges during residency fellowship, Dr. Jim Willerson, Dr. Bruce Cohn, Dr. Jairama Guntupalli, many, many others. Thank you to all of you. You're wonderful. I'm so grateful for the gift of learning and education that you've given me. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So
and we are also... Sorry to interrupt, but just want to welcome Dr. Ram Vis. He's also with us. So,
Wonderful.
morning, sir, and namaste from India to you, and thanks for coming in our webinar. Please carry on, ma'am.
Namaskar, Pa. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Namaskar.
I
Yeah,
really
thank you.
appreciate.
Namaskar. Yeah.
Thank you, Pa. I really appreciate the warm welcome for both of us. So just to recapitulate a little bit, future teachers must understand and correlate their efforts to the GDP of the country and jobs and students of the future. They must be flexible, responsive. They must demonstrate the whole child development behavior. So they are able to raise the whole child up, not just intellectually, but emotionally and mentally as well. They must have done the work on themselves, and they must be in a state of self-awareness, self-reflection, and perennial growth orientation. They must be able to change the learning offering depending on the student needs, which is a concept called student-centered learning. So one is whole child development learning. The other one is student-centered learning. Little different concepts. We went over the differences and what each one means. They will be using big data and many types of educational technologies seamlessly. This whole child development requires addressing the child's emotional and mental needs also by teachers. They must themselves demonstrate constant and never-ending learning and a love of learning to the child, because the ultimate gift that we want to impart to the child is a love of learning, a love of learning. The child must love to learn and must be, by this love of learning that is imparted by the teacher to the child must want to learn for the rest of their lives, because that is the future that we will all be living in, a future in which we will all have to be constantly learning and improving ourselves. We must be able to evaluate each child according to the child's promises, talents, and other possibilities, and nurture and foster a positive environment around the child to bring out the best from the child. They must recognize the struggles of the students of the future and their burdens and help them with emotional and mental growth, and to probably to a lesser extent spiritual and definitely physical growth. They have to help as well. Why do we need to prepare teachers to teach the student of the future? Because the environment in the job arena and outside school is changing so fast that older methodologies and values are unlikely to continue to apply when the student graduates and leaves to work in a real life job. So the real life job environment will be so different from the traditional school environment that the school environment has to change to make the student ready for the real life job environment of the future. Otherwise, we will be preparing them in a clunky, old, traditional manner, and they will have to go there and face the stress of this hyper growth in the job environment. So that is why we have to help our teachers change and become that which the student of the future and the jobs of the future need. So we talked about whole child development being everything from physical to mental health, social. Social is another important element of this developmental skills. That is how they work in teams, how they collaborate with each other, how they are able to help each other out. That's the most important part of, in fact, that is the most important part of financial, the psychology of even money, is how well you can get along with people and play in a team. Emotional development, identity development, cognitive development, and so on. We are still recapitulating the last 2 weeks, so I will be quick. And we said this is a slide you like very much, Chitraji, so I put it in this presentation again. The teachers, we believe their values must be resilience, or the values they must communicate to the children is resilience, lifelong love of learning, resulting in lifelong learners, and constant and never-ending improvement, and a seamless reconciliation of the internal and external disconnects and the opposites of the inner and outer world. We talked about how in Indian spirituality, they defined truth as that which is permanent and unchanging. And that is what that is their strength on the inside. And we must show them what their strength is on the inside and remove the layers of dirt such as ignorance and restlessness of the mind, and help them, there's a third one, and help them get to the core of that infinity that is inside of them, so that they can reconcile the ever faster changing outside world with that which is true and permanent and unchanging on the inside. And this is what confers the Indian teacher with a great advantage over any other teacher on the planet, because this has already been figured out in our spiritual culture. So we talked about teachers versus coaching, the differences, what actually the elements of resilience a little bit are. We talked about artificial intelligence, its strengths, its weaknesses, the opportunities with artificial intelligence and the threats. So we also talked about student-centered teaching and learning and what this actually means. That is, creating the curriculum based on what the student wishes to have learned at the end of a 6-week learning unit. They sit down together, the teacher, the student, and the teacher's coach, who's coaching the teacher not to teach a system-based curriculum or a syllabus-based curriculum, but the student-based curriculum. And at the end of the 6 weeks, this child should be able to say, I am able to do this, 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 this. Of course, there are also certain didactic things that have to be taught. And if the student cannot say, I've learned integration, I do it in this way, it doesn't fit any other model. No, it has got to be differentiation, integration. The child knows how to do it very well, and this, and that, and what they want out of it, they should also get. So the personalization of these teaching modules or units, and this model assumes that all students are internally motivated, hardworking, good children who only wish to learn. Teacher satisfaction and longevity in this model is very, very high, and the results for students are exceptional. Happiness is high, sense of accomplishment and performance in job and society are also excellent. The students have actually learned in 2 months what if they were using a structured didactic syllabus-based curriculum, the teacher would take a year to teach. The students are learning in 2 months when they are able to tell the teacher what they want to get out of the learning. And then the whole student learning includes social, emotional, and mental and physical development. Development of empathy, development of wisdom, asking the right questions, and so many other elements to it. I just want to take a little, diversion and talk about the areas that are ripe for disruption here and globally. In the United States, we are expecting transportation to take a huge disruptive change in the near future. It all started with the electric cars. Tesla was not the first, he was the third or the fourth. And flying cars have been they've been working on flying cars for at least 20 years. But the time is right now. There are multiple flying car startups that have been in existence for at least 10, maybe 15, 20 years. And then there's Elon Musk's Hyperloop, which is India to US in few hours time. And every 4 seconds, there can be a cart that comes and picks up 10, 50, 100 people, 1,000 people, and it can travel very, very fast and reach the US. And so 1 million Indians can potentially visit the United States in 1 day. That's what we're talking about. And they may stay here for 2-3 weeks for tourism. So tourism will change. Transportation will change. We're talking about elevator to space, moon and Mars colonies, frequent space shuttles. This industry is going to undergo an exponential change in how it looks. In less than 5 years, we will see flying cars. Then we have drone deliveries and all kinds of other things. They're all related to transportation. Then we are also anticipating a lot of disruption in the following areas: food and soil, food production that is soil independent, or a way to regenerate and cultivate soil. We are expecting huge disruption in medicines and healthcare. The delivery and the deep vertical integration of health and wellness with prescribed substances. We are expecting disruptions in national boundaries, groupings of nations, money and wealth, where it will not become trackable for the ordinary person, but the very wealthy will be able to track their money. If they're putting, say, $1 million in some startups, maybe 100 startups, they will be able to track what did the startup do with every dollar? Who did they give it to? What did they get out of it? That kind of thing, which is what we are calling blockchain. But the ordinary person will also come out from under the scrutiny of tax authorities. It is going to happen, and taxes will, as I see, I believe taxes will go away, and the ordinary person will be paying usage fees for government created infrastructure. This will also make the government much more responsive. The very nature of work, future jobs, work-related reward systems. What is a job? All this will be redefined. Nature of employment will change. And of course, the dark side of it, there will be a huge rise in piracy and white-collar crime as well, potentially, if we don't carry these people, if we don't educate our teachers, right? So
Right.
just some things to keep in the, I hope I'm not covering too much material. I do have a lot of slides again today.
No, ma'am, but I just want to ask that are you covering all these through a slide, because your slides are not visible to us?
Oh, yes, I am covering them through slides. Oh, goodness,
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Let
No,
me
that's
share. I have
perfectly
slides for all of this.
Ji,
I am
ji.
so sorry.
No, that's perfectly fine, ma'am. In between, if you allow me, can I ask a question from you
Yes,
also?
please. Yes. Go ahead, Chitraji, please. Go ahead. Ask the question, please. Yes, ma'am. You have a question? So with this amount of disruption,
Yes, ma'am. So
Chitraji,
my
anytime you
question
can
is
ask. Yeah.
quite simple.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I have. Am I audible to you?
Yeah. Now you are. Yes. Go ahead. Hello, Chitraji, can you hear me? I can't hear you now.
So, ma'am, my question was basically when we talk about neuro
coaching. Are you asking about neuro coaching? Hello, Chitraji. Can anybody else hear Chitraji? Dr. Vis, are you able to hear Chitraji?
No.
Yeah, neither can I. So Chitraji, I think it may be the cell phone or something. So if it is okay, I will proceed with the presentation, and please feel free to ask anytime, or you can even type it in the chat. I can't hear you. That's why I'm not able to answer. So with your permission, I will proceed. So we are trying to keep, as NRIs, we're trying to keep, or NRIs, some of us citizens, we're trying to keep the US with India. Dr. Vis, I hope you don't mind. I'm speaking for you. And, you know, basically, I know that you wish for peace and friendship between the two countries. And I'm a little bit extending that to say that there are huge benefits for joining. Each country's independent interests will be represented by its own leaders. But in general, if we are one compound unit, there could be a lot of synergy, at least for certain things, certain professions and financially. And here are some areas where NRIs have done, are continuing to do a lot of work. And this work is benefiting Mother India as well in a very big way. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because there is some misconception in India that America is a bad country. America has tried to keep India out of progress and certain things. And what I would like to say here is that it has appeared like that, but it is not the country of America that is like that. The individual citizens in America are quite good people. There is a leadership vacuum in this country, which is soon going to be filled by people who are actually really, really good and worthy people. That leadership vacuum was in the people who are presently in their 70s. And it was a generation, those who are now in their 70s, there's a generational difference. So that leadership vacuum will go away, and they are going to, you're going to see the true feelings of the citizens of the United States, including Indians who moved from India to America. All the work that we have done to bring the two countries together, there is a lot of work that has been done. I don't want to go into each and every area, but there are people of Indian origin. As you know, the vice president of this country is multiple Congress people from Indian diaspora who care. Everybody cares a lot about India. We are talking about Novartis, the head, Vasant Narasimhan, Atul Gawande. These are all Indians who, not just Americans, but people all over the world are listening to and learning from, and benefiting by their leadership. Microsoft, Google, IBM, Adobe, Twitter, so many have Indian CEOs. As you know, many, many Indian teachers at all levels here. Indians have schools. Just in the Houston area, there are 8 schools owned by Indians, where both Indian and non-Indian children are going for studying. Indians own paramedical and biotechnology companies, business companies, both in tech and in traditional engineering and other areas, coaching companies. In every area of engineering, Indians are contributing hugely to the US. They are the deans. Dean of Harvard Business School is an Indian man. Dean of the School of Science at MIT is an Indian origin woman. And, I will talk about this individual later, but I just wanted to share with you, there is a lot of work that is going on in the United States of America by Indians. Welcome back, Chitraji. Happy to see you. We just want to say that this work is not only benefiting America, it is going to benefit India in a huge way. The current generation of leaders who are in their 70s, as they retire, that new generation is coming into America, and that is much more reflective of the average American and younger Americans. So I just want to respectfully request India to be patient with us. This is a young country. People are growing and learning a lot here in a very short period of time, compared to the thousands of years where people in India have learned the best way to be and the best way to do things. And the people here are learning from people from India. So please be patient with us. No harm will come to India from our activities here or from Americans' activities.
Right.
And it's a message of friendship and of love and affection and mutual respect, and so much of respect that this country has for India and for Indians, that I'm here to convey this, because I don't think it has been adequately understood or appreciated just how much respect there is for Indians in America and for Indians in India here in America. Please know
we are a big global family.
Absolutely. That is the correct understanding of this. And yes, I really wish for every Indian to know how deeply India is appreciated, and each and every Indian is appreciated by each and every American. In every situation, people understand people want the Indian viewpoint. They want the Indians to be the leaders. They want to learn from Indians. They appreciate Indian teachers. As I mentioned last time, something that I learned from Dr. Vis, that the Nobel Prize winner in physics, Dr. Subramaniam Chandrasekhar, after whom so many telescopes and big facilities and structures are named here. His 2 Chinese students, each of them got a separate Nobel Prize in physics first before he got his. So that is something I learned from my father, Dr. Vis. So people really have a tremendous amount of respect. And there are Indians who are in top positions in education, as I've mentioned before. So there is no lack of respect for that. So what are the elements of student resilience, the components of whole student education, right? The child must be in good or excellent health. One way to get there is teaching the teachers the cellular health coaching or the user's manual to the human body, and then having them impart this to the children. Physical strength. And, I just want to mention my friend Michelle Jones, who's the one who got me into cellular health coaching by Dr. Gary Samuelson. Brilliant man, medical atomic physicist, PhD. This lady is a brilliant woman. She just passed away, unfortunately, last year. She, absolutely brilliant woman, went into Princeton at the age of 15, was one of the youngest people accepted, did quantum chemistry there. And then the other elements of resilience are mental, emotional, and spiritual. Excellent mental and emotional health, and applied neurosciences mastery with inner sizes, which are created by my mentor, Mr. John Asraf, and neuro coaching, the other mentor, Dr. Mark Robert Wallman. The children must be inoculated with optimism. And here we also want to say that they should also have some spiritual deep grounding. That is important for a later stage in life. And then highly well-developed collaborative relationships with family and team at work. And we must teach the children at their level how to make this happen. Or if we're coaching adults, then we have to show them what the importance is of having collaborative relationships within the family and the team at work. So some of the skills that we want resilient people to have are that they can rapidly process rejection, failure, and trauma without long-lasting effects. There is a whole field here called adverse childhood events, or ACEs, and the correlation of the number of adverse childhood events out of a list of 12 with the development of chronic medical illness or early death in that child that experienced it as a child. There's a whole field of research and medicine and psychology in this country. And there are many fields of how to get out of trauma and things like that. Many, many fields of research and endeavor in this country. But even with neuro coaching alone, we can largely protect children from these things. So teaching them that, but first teaching the teachers that. And with being able to extract deeper learning and meaning and turning these adversities into fuel for success, as my mentor, Mr. John Asraf, who created Inner Sizes, frequently says, without losing energy, time, or health, right? Because that's how people are getting sick, is from trauma, right? So what is emotional intelligence? Empathy, working in teams, collaboration and cooperation, servant leadership, listening well, engaging with one and all regardless of their, whatever it is, how they are different from us, So these are all the elements of resilience, which is important in whole student education. You can see how many facets there are. You may remember that number I gave you, 200 facets, 200 life skills they have to learn, and about 40 different subjects to function at a bachelor's degree. The equivalent of today's bachelor's degree, the students of the future have to acquire 200 life skills and about 40 different subjects. So that's where the coaching comes in imparting this life skills to the students. Then, for example, this is elements of physical and bodily health, which we can discuss in cellular health coaching and offer it to teachers to get trained in. Nutrition, food as medicine, activity, how we move and how we exercise and how that can help us with retaining and increasing our health, how our sleep affects this, energy generation, high levels of energy generation, either in the brain or in the body upon demand, respiration and metabolism, deeply restorative states, which are also regenerative, and how to access these things, repair and recovery, self-management of chronic medical illness. When must we seek help? Like, when do we understand that this is out of our knowledge area? When should we ask for help? Who should we ask? What kind of help? What is the contribution of mental stress to physical health? Understanding this and utilizing this knowledge to manage stress better so that we won't develop chronic medical illness in the future from prolonged high level of stress. Hydration. These are all the elements of this cellular health coaching. The human body's user manual. So we will give this knowledge to our teachers in a short 3-month period.
Right.
Then there is much more here. Actually, this is just a preliminary slide. In our next week, I'm hoping to have Dr. Gary Samuelson also attend and talk about the cellular health coaching program that he has generated. And I will be talking about the elements that I'm going to add to it that will make it this kind of a comprehensive program.
Right.
So coming back to making education relevant, India graduates 20 lakh teachers, 2 million teachers a year from 19,000 teacher training colleges that award the B.Ed degree after a BA in arts or BCom in commerce. India only needs 3 lakh teachers a year, or so I'm told. So the question that I was asked to address in these presentations was, how do we super skill these teacher graduates, to give them the edge in any job hires anywhere, to either take teleteaching jobs or teacher jobs anywhere abroad? Those teachers who are being graduated in excess of what India needs. So one possible answer that we came up with was to give them guidance and training to become teacher coaches, double certified in teaching and in coaching. This also fits in with the emerging paradigms in education, which are whole child learning, as we said, the social, emotional, mental, physical development, along with the intellectual development, and student-centered education, where the student chooses what they want to get out of a particular 6-week unit or learning module, right? At this time, America needs 4.57 lakh teachers, okay, mostly in high school mathematics, science subjects, and the languages. But the world needs 690 lakh teachers before 2030. There are hundreds of millions of displaced and refugee children due to war and due to climate change who need teachers in 92 countries globally. Okay, on any given day, there are 1 billion children going to school, of whom 670 million do not have basic numeracy and literacy, or literacy and numeracy. That means they cannot do basic reading and they cannot do basic mathematics. So look at the opportunity for teachers. Look at how gigantic this opportunity is for teachers. It is not a profession that is going away anywhere. So other points here, all countries due to the pandemic have developed huge mental health problems, particularly in teens and young adults. Young children have developed much worse health problems because the parents, they're sensing the stress from the parents. The stress from the parents is falling on these younger ones. Their asthma is much worse, which is the most common chronic medical illness in children is asthma. So those kinds of things are much worse in younger children, allergies and asthma. But in teens and young adults, they're having major depression, anxiety, because they don't know what the future holds. And they understand that their education in school is not preparing them for the college education, which is going to exponentially change, and the jobs of the future, which have changed so fast. These students are coming into great uncertainty and great stress, which, as we've discussed, also causes disease and shortening of lifespan. The most recent data from the United States is the life expectancy in the US has dropped by another 1.5 years to 76.6 years. About 5 years or maybe 10, 15 years ago, it was more than 80, 81. Now it has dropped due to pandemic and so many other things. The Honorable Finance Minister, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman ji, has advised in February 2022, as Gulshan ji advised me, that the Indian central government will open 23 mental health centers countrywide in collaboration with NIMHANS to address this epidemic of mental health issues in young people. We will show how, I'm sorry?
Sorry, ma'am. That will be health centers, tele mental health centers.
Okay, telehealth centers. Thank you. We will show how neuro coaching training will help the teachers themselves with their own mental health, as well as being able to intervene in their students' traumatic experiences in the next session. I'm trying to get Dr. Mark Robert Wallman to attend the next session to talk about his neuro coaching. Because it's on a Sunday, they're busy. Today's Easter. Like you greeted, I would also like to greet all the viewers. Happy Easter and Ramadan Kareem. Happy Tamil and Telugu New Year. Thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate you. And we hope that the people who have created these coaching trainings can also be part of this with us. I'm their student. I'm also with students and coaching myself, in addition to my medical work. So one of my goals is to get them to attend. If not, I will present this material to you. And how neuro coaching will help intervene in their children's trauma experiences for the teachers, and how it will prepare the teachers themselves. This can be offered as a 3-month-long course in addressing multiple aspects of mental health and how they might be addressed, as well as greatly assist Honorable Finance Minister Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman ji's efforts on mental health countrywide, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji's efforts on improving mental health countrywide. Cellular health coaching will also address this. And so teachers will learn and implement not only health and prevent chronic medical illnesses, it may also help reverse chronic medical illness. It will assist the teachers teach how to prevent chronic medical illness, this whole topic, to the students, and give them that essential whole child learning advantage where it concerns health. So the United Nations Development Program has many goals for India to meet. And this is item number 4 that pertains to education. And I just want us to briefly read this. By 2030, we must ensure that all girls and boys complete free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education, leading to relevant and goal 4 effective learning outcomes. What this means is they should be able to read, they should be able to write, and they should be able to do basic, simple mathematics. By 2030, we must ensure that all girls and boys have access to quality early childhood development, care, and pre-primary education so that they are ready for primary education. What this means is everybody should be able to start school by the age of 3. And primary education is from the age of 5 or 6, first standard. So this kindergarten, lower and upper kindergarten, that should be available to everybody, all children and students in India. By 2030, we should ensure equal access for all women and men to affordable and quality technical, vocational, and tertiary education, including university. That means everybody in India should be able to learn anything and everything they want to learn without too much money out of the pocket. By 2030, substantially increase the number of youth and adults who have relevant skills, including technical and vocational skills, for employment, decent jobs, and entrepreneurship. By 2030, eliminate gender disparities in education and ensure equal access to all levels of education and vocational training for the vulnerable, including people with disabilities, indigenous people, that is tribal people, and that is what they mean, and children in vulnerable situations. This is children who have lost parents, who are on the street, who don't have shelter, who don't have food. This is who they're talking about. So no gender disparities. We discussed gender disparities at length in our first session. We said that if all girls in India, all girl children in India get up to 12th standard education, not only will the risk of war reduce by 10%, India's GDP can increase to 15 to 30 trillion US dollars from currently 5.6 trillion, which it has backslided, to 3.5 trillion due to the pandemic, but it will come back. So 5.6 trillion US dollar GDP of India should increase to 15 to 30 from just educating all girl children up to 12th standard. Important point to note. By 2030, ensure all youth and a substantial proportion of men and women can read and they can do basic mathematics. So right now, 67% of the 1 billion students cannot do basic reading and basic arithmetic. 67% cannot. 670 million children cannot do basic reading and basic mathematics. We're all over the world, not just in one place. By 2030, we must ensure that all learners acquire the knowledge and skills needed to promote sustainable development. Why is Gulshanji doing what he's doing? Exactly because of this. Thank you. Thank you, Gulshanji. Thank you. And thank you, Chitraji. Thank you for doing this wonderful work. Sustainable development. Thank you.
Thanks to you, ma'am.
Thank you. I appreciate you both for giving your lives for Mother India. This is amazing. This is inspiring and it is awe-inspiring. Thank you from the bottom of each of our hearts. Sustainable lifestyles, human rights, gender equality, promotion of a culture of peace and non-violence, global citizenship, appreciation of cultural diversity, and of culture's contribution to sustainable development. I actually wanted to talk about culture, but I will do that in the next class.
Right.
Build and upgrade education facilities that are child, disability, and gender sensitive and provide safe, non-violent, inclusive, and effective learning environments for all. We looked at those numbers where girl children are sexually assaulted on the way to school and they stop going to school. Or when they have periods and they don't have ways to take pads or take that help, they don't go to school for 5 days, 6 days. And there are no classes to catch up these girl children for the education they've missed. Or from when they were born, they're at home doing the roti, chapati, and food preparation, cutting the firewood. Maybe the mother is ill or whatever. The father is poor laborer. And these girl children, we don't have catch-up classes. Like maybe at 10 or 12, they can re-enter school, but there are no catch-up classes so that they can learn what they missed from the age of 3 or 4 or 5. And this Global Partnership for Education and a couple of other entities that are funded by the British Royal institutions, they are creating these catch-up classes for girls in countries like Ethiopia that I mentioned, 220 million invested in just 2020 for their education in that country. And India is not there. India is not a part of the Global Partnership for Education. So these are all important points that have come up in the last 2 weeks of our discussion that I'm re-emphasizing in this talk. So then they want to substantially expand globally the number of scholarships available, particularly in small island states, African countries, for enrollment in higher education, including vocational training and information and communications technology, technical, engineering, and scientific programs in developed countries and other developing countries. So again, you can see India is not mentioned. This is the United Nations. So only non-resident Indians have to make sure that the same education that is available to these other countries, like in Africa and the small island states, are available to our own children in India too. And that is our promise to you. We will make that education available to you. We are not going to let India go anywhere or be less than any country on this planet. We are non-inferior to anybody on this planet. As Dr. Vis would say, nobody is superior and we are the least. We are not at all. But what we are is non-inferior, non-inferior. Then by 2030, substantially increase the supply of qualified teachers through international cooperation for teacher training in developing countries, especially least developed countries and small island developing states. So here we can offer the United Nations now our trained teacher coaches, 3 months of coaching training, that's all. 3 months of practice, maybe supervised, and another 6 months on their own. They will have the hours to get coach certification from International Coaching Federation. When that happens, within a year, they'll be ready to be employed by all these. United Nations will try and employ them. These big international agencies, Global Partnership for Education will try to employ them. So I want to talk a little bit about the functional medicine coaching program. It is a 3 months duration. We will teach, gather, organize, tell, order, initiate, track, and give support to our teachers to do continuing education, ongoing education of their clients. So we will teach the teachers in the coaching program how to gather information from patient clients, whom we will call clients, how to take a health history, what are the forms that are needed, what is a symptom questionnaire, what are symptoms, how to take the symptom questionnaire and fill it out for the client, take the chronological story or timeline. And there are some abbreviations here, don't worry about it, I can expand on another time. ATMs and patient stories, ABCDs of nutritional evaluation, lab tests, nutritional physical examination done remotely. So they can gather all this information. Then they can tell the client's health story and share it with the integration of functional medicine back to the client. So they will take the client's story over time, how this happened, then this health problem happened, then this happened in their life, and then this health problem developed, then this happened in their life, and this health problem. So that whole story they will take and they will explain it to the client. When this happened, this is how your body gave up, and this is how you got this disease, right? So we talk about how a spiritual injury can result in disease. So we will tell that. Then order, we will give an order to this. It's called the functional medicine matrix. The client's emotional, mental, spiritual health. Inside of this functional matrix, functional medicine matrix, order these in the order in which they are impacting the client's health the most and prioritize them based on the causation of the present condition. Then we will initiate the functional medicine prescription. We will teach the coaches how to do that, how they can refer the clients for nutritional evaluation or other types of evaluations, physical exam, diet, nutritional, and lifestyle journal will be given to them. So they will write down in this journal what their diet is, what their nutrition is, what their lifestyle is, and the coach can study that and give them some feedback. We will give the coaches client handouts about how to eat mindfully, how to develop a relaxation response to a stressful challenge. We will give them handouts on functional nutrition, what is a core food plan, and this will be customized, personalized, depending on the existing habits and food preferences and desired outcomes to health of the client. We will help the coaches learn how to track the medical symptoms using a questionnaire of their clients, and we will help them track the body composition. That is, what is body composition, how is it measured, and how do we track it over a period of time. We will help the coaches gather all this information and learn how to respond to the changes in the clients according to the functional medicine prescription they have given. So all this will be there in the functional medicine coaching program. And what is functional medicine? I just want to give you a brief overview. Functional medicine asks how and why illness occurs and restores health by addressing the root causes of disease for each individual. Functional medicine can be described as the clinical application of what is called systems biology, how the organ systems of the body interact with each other. Functional medicine directly addresses the modulators of gene expression, which is caused by an individual's environment and other underlying causes of diseases through a systems-oriented approach. When you say systems biology, systems orientation, we're talking about the human body as a whole, not just the human body's intestine, their right ear, their left side of the nose. No, we're talking about the human being as a whole. Systems, all the organ systems, how one organ system is taking a hit when another organ system gets diseased. And how do we reverse both? So these functional medicine concepts and practices have been around for only about 30 years. And there's dramatic growth in the evidence that identifies the potential root causes of the disease. And so when we address these, this is called the environmental exposome, when we address this, then we have a huge positive result in the clinical outcome of the patient and of the client. So we can talk about the gene environment interaction, upstream signal modulation, systems biology based approach. There are many things at the doctor level that we are learning and we practice, but at a coach level, we will give them something that they can learn in 3 months and that they can apply to their clients, resulting in significant positive improvement. So we also wanted to talk about briefly what is the ongoing education that these functional medicine coaches can now give their clients. So let us say the functional medicine, after they do, I'll come back to another slide on this, but we're giving them 3 months of training, right? And we're teaching them all these elements, what they will do, what they will do with their patient. So there are 6 elements, right? Gather, tell, order, initiate, track, teach, gather, organize, tell, order, initiate, track. Okay. Now we will teach them how to make this a subscription with those clients that they've served. So they will have either a weekly video conference or a handout. They can talk on subjects like this: the 3 L's of chronic inflammation, leaky gut, lectins, lipopolysaccharides. Why is being gassy a good thing? What are gasotransmitters and what is their role in health? What 10 symptoms suggest hormonal imbalances within the body? What is body odor and what is the best way to combat it? How does poor gut health correlate with low testosterone levels and how to improve both? How does poor gut health correlate with all hormone levels and how to improve both? How can we measure the health of a gut microbiome objectively? How can we improve the health of the gut microbiome? What is intermittent fasting and what are its benefits? Each one is a topic. Each week they can take a topic and do a talk, small one or long one, depending on their time and availability, and tell their students whom they train, let's say over 6 weeks, you can have an annual subscription and attend all these talks. And I will give you a handout, I'll talk, you can ask questions, these kinds of things. And we will back up these coaches. How do we improve the health of the gut microbiome? What is intermittent fasting? Why do we need electrolytes when fasting or hydrating? What are the 7 sources of nutrition needed for those on a plant-based diet? What are 6 parasitic infestations to look for when eating a carnivorous diet? And how do we know we are sharing our body with the parasites? What is sleep apnea and what are the possible causes of it? How do we treat it? Why? That is without medicines and drugs and other things, machines. Why our sleep can be off and what we can do about it. How can we get a good night's sleep and what are the minimum requirements of sleep and why is it essential to get the minimum requirements of sleep? Now, I'm calling this major online open course, and this will be the first part of the training that we will give each of these functional medicine and other coaches. What we will teach every coach is we will teach them the differences between being a coach and being a teacher. What are the differences? And we'll give them examples. We'll really make them understand at a cellular level, there are 2 different hats that they can wear. And it's at a deep skill acquisition that they're getting this coaching training. Then we will teach them about, being the example and why that is important. We can share with them about continuous learning and understanding materials and feedback from clients. So how do they understand the feedback their clients are giving them? How do they understand the materials we are giving them to learn during the coaching process? We will teach them all this. We will teach them a little bit about self-love and self-forgiveness. We will teach them about how to do these courses and coaching and make it student-oriented, even individualized where it is possible. What is whole child learning? We will teach them about learning the power of purpose and one's own path. And we will make them understand that everything is happening at the right time for everybody in the right place, when it should happen and how it should happen. And this is not fatalism, but faith. We'll also teach them a little bit about micro-learning. And so micro-learning is a big topic, and I want to get into that a little bit, if possible, next time as well. And then I wanted to speak briefly about this functional medicine teaching, business, and financial model. So they will invest 3 months with us, taking the functional medicine coach training. It will be 2 hours a week. The subject matter will be in the middle for about 8 weeks. So out of the 12 weeks, 8 weeks will be subject matter, how all those 6 points, we will train them on those things. Then they will do this major open online course in the beginning for the first 2 weeks with the students from all of the coaching programs that we are doing. And we talked about what the major, it'll be all this. In the first 2 weeks, we will teach them what a coach does, what is special about a coach, what are some most important things that they need to learn about being a coach. That'll be the first 2 weeks, and everybody will be in that part of it. Then we can impart the subject matter in 8 weeks, and the last 2 weeks they will practice being coaches with their peers. Then they will evaluate our program, and then we will test them on the concepts and whether they understood the most important concepts. Then they will get a certificate that they will be ready to start coaching. We will provide them with backup and support for as long as they need it, at least for a year, and we will verify their coaching hours for them. For example, now the financial part of it. If they're a lady staying at home with children and they can take only 3-4 students for the first 6-week cycle, they're teaching their students in 6-week cycles. So let's say they're teaching their students in 6 weeks and taking 3 or 4 children, they can make 20,000 rupees in 6 weeks, charging 5,000 rupees per child. We have to figure out this part of it. I don't know how it will work, but maybe the government of India can pay some part of it. Maybe the children's parents will pay. Maybe banks will make it available for all children to be able to take neuro coaching or cellular health coaching. And the tuition fees will go to the teacher. So it's creating the job for the teacher. Then, if they are not homemakers, whether they are men or women, if they're wanting full-time job, they can teach 10 students in 6 weeks. 10 students at 5,000 rupees each. That is 33,000 rupees a month in income. So they have a job, full-time job. And I can go into a little bit more detail on how this classroom and this learning will occur and how we will support the teachers with continuing education and how they can support. We will provide them with all the materials they need to collect subscription from their students. It may be small amount, 50 rupees a month, but they will learn all those topics that I shared. For example, if they do the functional medicine coaching, they will teach their clients about all those topics, right? The topics we talked about, like these topics, right? Once a week, these coaches will teach their clients, whoever, whether it's adult clients, if it's students, it will be presented, children will be presented in a different way. And they can collect a small amount of subscription. As time goes by, 50 rupees, everybody will pay once a month in order to get that knowledge. And there is so much of knowledge. And there are so many people who would want to learn that. And in just 5 minutes or 2 minutes, they can read their, like Dr. Vis does technical updates for his customers. They can read the technical update given by this functional medicine coach. And we will provide all of those to the functional medicine coach. So the functional medicine coach will collect that as income. Now there's a career path also. And then we will unwind the case histories with them where they're having difficulties getting the coaching outcomes, or if they have questions, we will support them and they will support their students. And there is a career path for these coach teachers, yes? So let's say they become really good. Let's say they get to that 250 or 500 hours, they get their International Coaching Federation certification. And now they've created so much materials, they're recording themselves on video, conducting the class, they get great student evaluations. The best of them will be able to teach their materials abroad anywhere. Then they can, or in India, they can teach at a, at a city level, they can have a lot of coaches under them who they can educate in their methods. They can teach at a district level, they can teach at a state level, they can teach at a regional level. So they have a career path for lifelong teacher coach occupation. I want to ask Dr. Vis to talk a little bit about this micro-learning. He had mentioned a story to me about this one business professor. Dr. Vis,
Yeah.
are you able to share a little bit?
Yeah. Priya, I suggest that you go ahead and do it. It'll be better for. I don't want to interrupt. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it is what I learned from you, Pa. So this business professor, he had a way of doing this micro learning, and what he would do was at the end of his day, he had one of his students call him and ask him 10 questions. He wrote his questions, right? And the questions were things like, did I do my best to set clear goals for today? Did I do my best to make progress towards goal achievement? Did I do my best to be happy? Did I do my best to find meaning in my work that I did today? Did I do my best to build positive relationships? Did I do my best to be fully engaged? So the reason all the questions start with, did I do my best? There is no one else responsible for my failure. Nobody else can be blamed for my failure or my choices. Failure or not, failure is a very strong word. And it has a totally different meaning than what we thought. And we will explain that in the neuro coaching. Today, I've only gone over functional medicine coaching. We still have neuro coaching. We still have cellular health coaching. We still have aging reversal. And we still have metabolic and diet for lifestyle to reverse chronic medical illness. To that, I would respectfully like to request Bhushan Sharma ji and you, Chitra ji, to give me the opportunity to also do breath coach certification and asthma coach certification. I'm doing that here in the US, and I would like to bring those concepts and training. They will absolutely be coming from yoga and pranayama, no question about it. That is the foundation of everything. And we will add some Western concepts and Western measurements, how they've adapted these things for army people, warriors, and people who do different kinds of things. So coming back to what Marshall Goldsmith said, he basically said he had a student call him every day and ask him these questions. And what this did was it made him, it made him, first of all, be grateful for what he was able to accomplish in the day. It made him not pay attention to what he did not get done, it made him think about improving every day. It put the responsibility for his life entirely with him, right? And it made him think about what he learned today that was new compared to yesterday. So the growth part, the stacking of the growth and the learning was happening with their asking these questions, called micro learning. There's much more to share with you about that. But I'm open to questions, and that's all I wanted to share with you today. Dr. Vis and I jointly, this is what we wanted to share with you today. We only went over one example, which is a functional medicine coach. I apologize for some of the typing mistakes. They were done with
no worries, ma'am. No worries. The amount of knowledge that you are sharing with us and you are giving to us, that is more valuable, and we really appreciate your focus and your dedication and your sincerity towards this particular field. We'll carry on this topic next week also. Few questions I would like to ask. If you can just fulfill our eagerness and query regarding the thing. First of all, ma'am, when we talk about neuro coaching and particularly to the teachers, so how neuro coaching is, and there is also a term called as metacognitive skills. So how that metacognitive skills is related to, is there some relationship between them, between neuro coaching and metacognitive skills, particularly in education arena and for teachers and educators?
Absolutely. I don't use the term metacognitive that much in my day-to-day work, but I can understand the root and the meaning of this word. And what neuro coaching does is it helps people reframe failure, reframe trauma, reframe rejection in a way that is empowering rather than disempowering. And so the metacognitive skill that they're acquiring is reframing.
Right.
Reframing a bad thing as a positive thing. Everything is happening in its time. Everybody is in the right place. They are at the level of learning and knowledge that they should be at. Nothing is out of order. Everything is going according to a huge cosmic order. And so understanding that and accepting that on a cellular level and using that understanding to reframe negative incidents in our lives as for our growth and how we can use them for our growth. So the reframing is the metacognitive skill, and neuro coaching imparts that metacognitive skill by training the person to think a certain way about it.
Right, ma'am.
Yeah. And how to arrive at that metacognitive recognition of what this was actually, why it actually happened. How did it happen? Why did it happen? And what is the lesson in it for me, for my future? That is what we do impart to them in neuro coaching.
Right. And for all the audience, those who are listening to us, if you can just explain us, because as a layman, we have a query that when we say cellular health coaching, why we say cellular health coaching? Why not we say health coaching only or wellness coaching? Why we have added cellular word into that? So why?
Excellent question. Yeah, very good question. Because the changes that occur at the level of the cell, which is the single unit of the human body, right? The brick, the human body, if the human body is a palace, then the single brick in that human body is a cell. And when we hydrate, when we take good nutrition, when we do exercise, when we sleep well, when we control our respiration and get more oxygenation, what is happening to each brick when we do this? That is why we call it cellular health coaching.
Okay, so we have to go deep down to understand.
We have to understand at a depth so that we can make those behavioral changes that will help us take care of the whole body.
Okay. And ma'am, the information that you have given to us about functional medicine coaching, this is my personal view, and I just want to understand from you as maybe or from the non-medical background, or maybe I'm not a doctor. If suppose we are giving this particular kind of a course or coaching to the group of teachers, those who are just BEd, they don't have any idea of medical background, they are not doctors. So how will they cope up with all the medical terms and everything with functional medicine coaching?
There are not many medical terms.
Okay.
That is, first of all, it's not a field I have created. It is a field that others have created. Very famous doctors like Mark Hyman and others, they've given a name for it. For me, I mean, long before I encountered this field, I had a hypothesis that I patented several years ago that said that there is a final common pathway of organismal disease, aging, and demise. The human organism is traveling a final spiral pathway like this, going down and down, and finally it enters into the drain. Okay, that is death. But it is, something, one thing gives way, then something else gives way, then something else gives way, then it's aging, then it gets disease, something is dropping, and then finally, boom. Okay, so what functional medicine is doing is, it is addressing these changes from a holistic viewpoint of lifestyle.
Right.
It is taking a diagnosis of the person. Oh, when so-and-so, when this child's mother died due to COVID, then the child first became anemic and maybe stopped going to school. Then when the child was not able to get nutrition for 6 years, and the baby was a stillbirth. Now she's a young adult woman and she had a stillbirth. So every medical thing that is happening is being correlated with an adverse event in the holistic view of that human being. And then we are addressing it with those lifestyle interventions mostly, and a few things like supplements and some other things. This will not take the job of the doctor. It will not take the job of the nurse. It will not take the job of anybody else. It is a supporting profession to all of these existing medical professions.
So again, the question is, will this particular course should be offered to the teachers who are from medical background, or it can be given to general teachers?
Yes, there won't be medical terms used much. We will teach it in a very simplified manner in which any lay person can understand this. There won't be a lot of even the symptoms and the signs and everything, because I understand it's a very excellent point. We will teach them in a very simplified way, because medical jargon is complex in a way to sort of exclude people out of the profession. But when we make the concept simple and use layperson terms, that doesn't make other people doctors. It just makes them understand what they need to do to help other people. So we can very easily do that. We'll give them lots of body diagrams and charts, but really the key is for them to understand that it is life events that lead to health conditions. And then how do we address these things in a sort of a comprehensive, holistic, address the human body, the human being as a whole organism rather than system wise, address all the systems and address the root cause of all the systems that are affected, but from a lifestyle perspective. I'll be teaching you reversal of aging. That won't be from a lifestyle perspective. That will be from actually specific things that you can do, medication wise, supplement wise, certain very specific actions that are not necessarily lifestyle related, that are actually actions that you need to do in order to reverse aging.
Right. Right.
So every type of coaching we are giving is very, very different from every other type of coaching. That's what I want to say.
Yes, I got your point. Ma'am, as a doctor, I would like to ask that nowadays, in the changing world and with technology, what is your view? Like, technology is good that we are adapting it, but it is creating a kind of an impact on our health also, especially our mental health. So as a doctor, what you recommend, especially to the young generation? And you have also mentioned about sleep disorders. And we see that the young generation, they are into technology, even in the night times also. In the daytime, they are studying and everything, but they are into social media, they are into their mobiles, even in the night time also. And that is creating a kind of a mental sickness. What do you want to say onto that?
So I will add that in one of the 8 weeks here in the functional medicine coaching, for those who are going to be teaching children and students, we will put in here one module on what is the adverse effect of technology on a child's health or an adult's health. Even adults are doing it. And the goal is to give the references about, and the main thing that I would say here is a sedentary lifestyle where we're sitting with the technology. That is as bad as smoking 1 or 2 packs of cigarettes a day in terms of the diseases it can cause. That is the main concept to understand. And there is no child, if you tell them you're only allowed to use the iPad between 7:30 and 8 after you've completed your homework, dinner. Yes, you can be that strict and disciplined. But when they go away to college and to the hostel, what are they going to do? See, the key to imparting education is to make the change at a cellular level. You want it to get to the bone marrow, to the depth of the brain, for them to understand, oh my God, this is not good for me to do, And then over a period of time, they will choose the healthy behavior. And that is what we should do as coaches, in my humble opinion. So we will teach them all the bad things of sitting, of leading a sedentary life. We will teach them all the bad things of the radiation exposure to monitors, to headphones, to earbuds, how hearing has been affected by people using the Apple iPods and all that with headphones. We will give them all the bad things that can happen with technology, and we will share with them how they can get the good things out of technology through other sources. And then it's a matter of, in their brain, all of that tying together, and they now, oh, okay, so there is another way to do it. This is the way to do it, and this is how I should prefer to do it. Unfortunately, in the future, the student of the future, the adult of the future will need to be spending at least 3 to 4 hours a day with technology. There is no getting away from that. It is the future. It is not a future you and I created, but somebody else has created it and put it on our heads. So we have to learn how to best use it and how to best not allow it to affect us adversely. So extract the most out of it, but not allow it to harm us. And that is the teaching that we will impart to these children. And we must. And we'll put it in as one of the week's teachings in this functional medicine module, coaching module.
Ji.
Excellent question.
So,
and I can also, in our next class, I will give you some slides on these things so you can address it with your own children, and whoever's listening can start addressing it with their own children too. No problem. In fact, I'll give you a white paper on it, and I will put some slides on that. How to minimize or reduce the dependence on technology of our students, and how to appeal to them, and how to make them understand the bad things of it. The good things, of course, they know, and how to share with them all the alternate sources of the good things also. So.
Right, ma'am. And with this, I want to thank you for today's session and giving another insight to our vision and to these concepts that are there, which is also not only for the hospitality side or the medical side, but it is now available for teachers and educators as well. So that's wonderful, and we are thankful to you for that, and looking forward for another week's program eagerly so that we can gain more. With this, I would like to
and a very big thank you to Dr. Vis for being such a wonderful mentor. Yes, there are 200 families that 200 people that he employs globally, and several of them are Indian Americans, Indians in India, Afghans, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, Sri Lankans, Malays, Singaporeans, Chinese, Americans, Europeans. He employs people all over the world. It's a small company, but it is a global microcosm, and everybody works together for the greater good. There is such an environment of collegiality and team work together because of his vision and because of his generosity. I want to thank him as my father and as my guru. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. And through you, we want to request Dr. Ramvis sir to just ending this webinar, if he can give his valuable views or guidance or any message for youth and the educators, those who are listening, about how to be mental robust and to look after their mental wellness and their life vision. If he can say words. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. The opportunity is incredible, really. And the opportunity for teachers, particularly from a populous country like India, is where there is a basic educational, shall I say, culture. It's very, very good. The fact remains that in many US universities, top professors and teachers are NRIs from India who are heading it. We have a culture of Guru Sishya Parampara, and it is fitting that we should engage a lot of this talent in India. And talent need not be from the cities. Mahendra Singh Dhoni is not from the city. There are so many who are so talented, who are from the inner parts of the country. And we should give them this opportunity to become teachers, teach them to become teachers. It's not only a wonderful business opportunity, it's a service we'll be doing to the whole globe, just like we are giving medicines and other assistance to many countries. The gift of education is a huge, I think there is a Sanskrit shloka for it. Vidyadanam sarvadana pradhanam. The dhanam means gift, you can say, of education is the most prominent one amongst all the other ways of giving. Okay, so I think it's a worthy effort, and I want to congratulate Sharmaji for putting it together. And I think this is something, I see there is something tangible and something that can work out and become a big success coming out of a lot of this information and learning you've been gathering over a period of time. This could be the piece that will yield big fruits. And I suggest in future, we confine ourselves to the action items, exactly what we should do, why we should do, how we should do, when we should do. So if for every action item, if we go with these, and I think we can narrow the time required to kickstart this whole idea, so that it becomes, something that everybody will benefit. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your views.
Such an important point, yeah. Such
Yes.
important points, yeah. Thank you, Appa. Thank you so much. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I got a lot out of it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So with this, ICSI, along with all the audience, those who are watching, we thank our valuable guest speakers for today evening, and their views, their viewpoint, their vision. We take ahead all these things next week also, and many months to come. And I'm signing off for today's webinar with a promise that we'll be back soon with another webinar, with another vision, with another topic. And good night, good morning,
Thank
good
you.
day. In whatever part of the world you are, have a blessed day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chitraji. Thank you, Gulshanji. From all of us, we namaskarams to both of you. We appreciate you so much, and we're so grateful to you. And our heart beats with Mother India. Thank you so much. God bless you.